Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Emily, and this is my channel, Books for Life. And today I'm here to tell you all about the book series that I want to read in 2019. Now, this list isn't every single book series that I want to read, but it does contain many of the series that I know as of right now that I am definitely hoping to get to. Definitely hoping, because you never know, to get to in 2019. And the first series is one that I don't have with me. It is one that is in my classroom library, and that would be Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I've owned this series for a few years now, and I have never taken the chance or the time really to actually read them. And with King of Scars being released at the end of January, I know that I want to read more in this world. I did read the Shadow of Bone series that she wrote a few years ago. So it's been a while though, so I probably have to recap that. And from my understanding, it's not the same characters, but it does take place in the same world. And I may be wrong on this, but I believe that is about like a band of misfits who get together and they like try to rob a place, and you fall in love with some of the characters. I know a main character suffers something fatal because everyone always talks about that. They haven't spoiled who or what or when, but I do know that someone's going to die. So that's intriguing, but I am really curious just more into this world, and I want to read more by Leigh Bardugo. I've only ever read the Shadow of Bone series. I do have her Wonder Woman novel too that I need to read, but I definitely want to read Six of Crows. A lot of these series, I can't tell you a lot about them because I just don't know, and I kind of like not knowing what a book is about before going into it, but that is the first one that I know that I want to read. The second series that I know I want to read is The Magicians by Lev Grossman, and this my brother gave me to read way back last spring, and I just haven't taken the time yet to read them, and I know that I really want to. He raved about it. My brother said that it was such an amazing series, and I've heard a few other people talk about it, like Chelsea Palmer on her channel. I'll leave a link below. She talks about this series all the time, and so I definitely want to take a chance and read this one. Again, I don't know what it's about. I know that there's magic, and I believe it's like a dystopian world, but I heard that it's not for everybody, but this is what the back of the first book says. It says, Quentin Coldwater is brilliant but miserable, a high school math genius. He's secretly fascinated with a series of children's fantasy novels set in a magical land called Fillory, and real life is disappointing by comparison. When Quentin is unexpectedly admitted to an elite secret college of magic, it looks like his wildest dreams may have come true, but his newfound powers lead him down a rabbit hole of hedonism and disillusionment, and ultimately to the dark secret behind the story of Fillory. The land of his childhood fantasies turns out to be much darker and more dangerous than he ever could have imagined. So it kind of reminds me of like a lot of other books where there's another world inside our world and our character's unfamiliar with it and wants to get out of his world to finally find out that the other world isn't as great as he thought it was. And yeah, so it does seem like a really interesting premise, and I have all three books right here, so I'm definitely hoping to get to this series in the new year. The next series that I really want to read is The Witcher by, I have no idea. I don't know how to say his name. But anyway, so this is the next series that I want to read, and I've heard that it's absolutely amazing. I know that it was made into a TV show, and I think that there's a video game on it too, and so I really want to read this one. My friend Tom gave this series to me, and actually I talked about it in my 2019 goals, so feel free to check out that video, and that I hope to read at least one of these books every month for the year until I get through this, plus another series that he gave me, which I'll get to in just a minute. So I have 6 books that are included in this series, so I definitely want to get to this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to read this one first or the other series, I'm not sure, but I definitely want to read at least one of these a month. So I know that this takes place in another world. It's a fantasy novel for adults. There's humans, dwarves, gnomes, and elves, and they live together in relative peace, but times have changed. The uneasy peace is over, and now the races are fighting once again. The only good elf, it seems, is a dead elf. I'm definitely interested in this. I love like the Lord of the Rings. I loved the Hobbit world. I really enjoyed the first book of the Aragon series, and so I'm hoping that this will, kind of remind me of those worlds, and I will be able to really get into this series. So next series that I want to read is another fantasy world. You'll notice that most of these are fantasy novels that I'm hoping to get to. I have, I think, one contemporary series that I want to read, but I'm not sure if I have anything more than that. So fantasy is definitely like my jam. Like that's where I belong. And so this series is another one given to me by the same person who recommended The Witcher, my friend Tom. And this is all about Merward. And this is written by Jeff Wheeler. I'm not sure which one goes first, so I'll have to look that up. But I have The Banished of Merwood, The Wretched of Merwood, The Blight of Merwood, and The Scourge of Merwood. So I have these. I have no idea what this is about. Oh, look at that. It says this is the opening novel in the Merwood trilogy. Is the tale of an orphan Leah who is part of a pariah caste known as only as the Wretched, a people unloved, unwanted, and destined to a life of servitude. Forbidden to read or write and forced to slave away in the Abbey kitchen, Leah is all but resigned to her fate. But when an injured squire named Colvin is abandoned at the Abbey kitchen, opportunity arises, and Leah conspires to hide Colvin and change her life forever. Her plan becomes a perilous one when the nefarious sheriff starts a manhunt for Colvin, and the land is torn by a treacherous war between a ruthless king and a rebel army. Ominous and illuminating, Leah sets out on an epic quest for freedom with hopes to unravel the secrets of her own concealed past. So this definitely sounds right up my alley. I'm really excited to read this one. And so when I finish, I'm going to read one of these first between this one or The Witcher, and then I'm going to read one a month. So I'm not sure if I'm going to start here or start with the Witcher series, but keep a lookout. I hope to get at least one of these done a month. So another fantasy series that I'm hoping to read in 2019 would be An Ember in the Ashes. I know A Reaper at the Gates came out this past June and everyone raved about it. People are really loving this series. One of my students actually recommended this to me this past year, and I definitely want to read it because of her recommendation, because we have read a lot of the same books. For example, I got her into Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses, so I think we have really similar tastes and I really trust her judgment. So I'm very excited to read this one, and a lot of people on BookTube have spoken about this series and have recommended it, and so I'm really excited. I don't know what it's about. I do know that it is another fantasy dystopian world, and I'm sure that there's some rebellion or something like that. I don't really know, so I don't really want to find out, but this is another series that I really want to get into. So Renegades is a book that I got for Christmas from my boyfriend, and so you can see more about the other books that I got. And you can check out my book haul and 2019 goals video if you want to know more, but I did receive this book from him, and I love Marissa Mayer. I'm actually currently reading Heartless by her right now, and I'm really enjoying it. And so this is a fantasy world, but it's like superheroes and villains. So it's like Marvel meets YA literature, and so I don't really know anything else about it other than that, but it is one that I really want to start reading. I heard that it is a trilogy, and the last one is supposed to come out, I believe, this fall, and so I probably won't read this one until closer to the end of summer, beginning of fall, because I will want to like binge read it, I'm sure, and get the last one as soon as I can and just finish the series out. But I definitely want to hit up the series this year. Since starting my YouTube channel, an author that stands out is Victoria Schwab. I had never heard of her, and I have heard so much about her since I started my channel. And so I read the Monsters of Verity series in the fall, and I got the Vicious duology for Christmas. Really also want to read A Darker Shade of Magic, but I don't own that one yet, so hopefully I'll be able to read that one too this year. But I want to read more by V.E. Schwab. Everyone raves about her, and I enjoyed her first two books. They definitely weren't my favorite. I think I rated them like a 4 out of 5 stars. They were good. I really did enjoy them. I didn't love them, so I'm hoping that I'll love these two a little bit more than those ones, but this is another series that I really want to get into. And I think this is another story about villains where the main character is a villain, I think, and it's like we love to hate this main character. That's the impression that I have, but I don't know really anything about them. You're going to hear that a lot, that I don't know a lot about these books that I want to read, but this is just based off other recommendations. Okay, so Strange the Dreamer is, that is reflective. So Strange the Dreamer is another book series along with Muse of Nightmares that I really want to read this year. I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone for the first time this fall, and I fell in love. I cannot get over that series. I absolutely loved it. So good. So I really want to read another book by Laini Taylor and probably her other works as well, but I definitely want to get to this one sooner rather than later. I got both the books for Christmas, and so I will probably be jumping into this one maybe even the month of January or February, because I just love Daughter of Smoke and Bone so much. Another series that I'm hoping to get to this year, well, not hoping, I will get to this year, is Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. I don't have them here. They're in my classroom library. I know that this is like a dystopian world where there is no death. death. And so I believe the Thunderheads control death and decide who dies, and they send the scythes after those people in order to help keep the population in check. And that's all I know. I did give this series to my brother to read, who is the one who recommended The Magicians to me, and he loved it. He loved the second one even more than the first one. And so I definitely want to read it, especially because everyone else seems to love it, and he did as well. And I really believe he has great recommendations. He's never let me down. So he's actually the one who told me to read Harry Potter for the first time. So I trust him, and I definitely want to get to that series as well. So finally, the last series that I think I want to read this year is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. I don't love contemporaries, but once in a while I do enjoy reading something that's a little bit more lighthearted, and everyone did rave about this one this year. I picked this up at BJ's for pretty cheap, so I am hoping to get some of the other books in this series depending on how much I like this one. Since contemporary is not really my thing, I didn't purchase the other ones yet. I wanted to see how I felt about this one first, but this is a series that I'm hoping to get to. From my understanding, this is about a girl who writes love letters to the boys that she likes and doesn't think anything of them, but somehow her love letters get out to those boys. And we follow this story and how things unwind for her and how things fall into place now that these boys know that she's had crushes on them. So I think it's going to be cute. I hope it's going to be funny and lighthearted, but this is a series that I think I'm going to get to. I do want to read this before I watch the film because I haven't watched that yet, but so please let me know what series you plan on reading this year. Do we have any of the same series? And if we do, let me know if you'd love to buddy read. I would like to do more buddy reading this year. I've only done that one time, so let me know if we have any similar books, or if you have a series you think that I would like, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I'll be back for more bookish videos soon. Keep reading!